Kabbalah is one of Judaism's most powerful mystical traditions. Kabbalah is vast and wide and deep and the highest of the high. We're going to look at it this evening for just one of its purposes, and that is as a pathway to connect with God, a way that we human beings can come to God and God can come to us through chant, through prayer, through meditation. When we set the Kabbalah tree of life, it looks something like this when we impose it upon a human form. And we're going to look tonight at the sphira, the emanation or the step called chesed, one of those words. Chesed is usually translated as loving kindness, but it has a much deeper translation. It really means the unconditional covenantal love between God and God's children. And so we are in deep covenantal love with God, and it's unconditional love. God loves us just because we are in that covenant, both as a whole people and as individuals. And so in order to remember this particular sphira, we've chosen from the morning prayers the phrase Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Now many people think that this is a fine Jewish law firm, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. But the reality is it's the prayer from the Sim Shalom morning prayer where we ask God for Chen, for grace. Grace is providential love. You get grace just because. And Chesed, the unconditional covenantal love, because you are in that covenant, you get that love. Those come from God automatically. The third phrase, the third word, Rachamim, in Yiddish, Rachmanis, which means compassion. Here God has a choice whether to give or not. And so that's why the Talmud says, what does God pray to God's self? What a question. What does God pray to God's self? Isn't that an amazing question? So the Talmud says, God prays to God's self, it should be my will. May it be my will, says God to God's self, that my sense of compassion outweigh my strict sense of justice. Beautiful prayer. So we have the request of God every day for Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Give us, God, grace and unconditional love and compassion. And then we learn to give God Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. After all, it's not easy being God. God's got all these conflicting requests coming all the time. He's got a lot of tourists down here on earth. So we have to give God some of our Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. And then we learn to give it to everyone whom we meet, including the person who cuts us off on the road, including the bank teller who has a line in front of her that takes forever, including the kid clerk at the convenience store who can't, for the life of him, make change. And so, finally, when we've learned all those things, then we give Chen v'chesed v'rachamim to ourselves. Because who's harder on you than you? And so you give yourself a little bit of grace, a little bit of unconditional love, and a little bit of compassion. And so we sing this phrase in this way. It goes, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, Chen v'chesed, Chen v'chesed, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Grace and love and compassion, grace and love and compassion, grace and love, grace and love, grace and love and compassion. Yai la la, yai la 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 la, yai la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. v'chesed v'rachamim. Chayin v'chesed v'rachamim. Chayin v'chesed